It's 9 o'clock right now, and I don't do outside work with power tools until 10 o'clock. It's just my rule of thumb. So anyway, I'm doing something I've been intending to do for a while. I'm measuring my halyard length. Way back when, you remember, I had said that I was going to run all my lines back to the cockpit. I talked to Ryan about it, and one thing and another, and decided, no, I'm just going to go standard stuff. You know what? With a safety line on, a safety harness, and life jacket and everything. I'll just use my safety lines and just go forward. Just go up to the mast and raise and lower my halyards. Raise and lower my main and my jib there. Okay, and when I was solo that day, I had no problem with that. I just pointed her up into the wind and was able to go up and do everything very safely. So anyway, but I had made all my brand new lines, my double braid line, way longer due to the fact of running them back to the cockpit. Well, I've decided to go ahead and cut them back to just standard mast length stuff. And I looked it up, and the rule of thumb is you cut your halyards to 2.5 the length of the mast. Well, my mast is 26 feet. So I figured it out. So basically this is saying I'm supposed to have these lines 65 feet long. That sounds really, really long. But I'm going to check it, and I'm going to see what it is, because I don't remember at this point. And I've got this all laid out on the floor, and I'm going to double back and forth and 10-foot lengths and see what my length is. And if I determine that I'm going to have to cut more off or cut some off, I'll go ahead and mark it, take it home, cut it, and whip the end. That way I don't have any loose ends. Right now, all my halyards, my brand new double braid halyards, are, have whipped ends, and as they should. But I want to do this right. So let me go ahead and get this turned around, and I'll show you what we're doing here. And we're going to do this right here in the basement. Like I said, the time's coming when I'll be up on the foredeck with power tools and trying to get everything sanded out in preparation for fairing compound. So let's get this done. Okay, so I measured it off, and right there is 10 feet. And so I'm going to go ahead and mark that and double back, and we'll just see how many feet we got on this halyard. This is my main. And so I'll get this set up and I'll show you. Well, okay, we're all measured out, and believe it or not, came out about 66 feet, which is a foot off, a foot longer than what the instructions say. You know what? I'm not cutting anything. There's my see, what was not? That's not the cleat. That's the shackle. There's my halyard shackle for the main, and up here. Where's, oh, okay. And here is the already very nicely done whip stitch. And seized, melted. Anyway, it's all working. We're done. I'm not even going to check the other one, because if I did that one right, I'm sure I did the other one right. But that's the main, and we're good. 65 feet is what it says in the recommendations, and this is 66, so we're good. Do a very short what's new corner here. This is my captain's pouch, and in here is my Eldridge. And let's see, this is from whenever I did my solo. Let me get this out. I buy a new one every year. Okay, this is from 2022. This is when I did my solo. And I was spending some time working with this thing, and I'm getting to the point where I can pretty much know what I'm doing. And for one thing, everything is pollock rip. Everything runs off from pollock rip as far as the tides, the tidal currents on Cape Cod, the south of Cape Cod, I should say. And that's Nantucket Sound. That's where I sail. So anyway, I've learned to use this. I know how to use it now. I'm pretty competent. So anyway, that's the 2022. That's coming out. My brand new 2023 Eldridge is getting ready to go in. And I went ahead and inscribed this one to Captain Randall Gardner, SV Little Girl. And this one is going in here. And the other thing that's in here is my my logbook. and I haven't done any. Well, the last thing I put in here was my my solo, and anyway, the only time I keep the logbook up is when I'm sailing. Anyway, looking forward to it. This completes my captain's pouch for this year, and this will go back out on the boat as soon as she gets in the water. All right. Oh, it smells so good down here. Oh, I don't know if it's summertime, what it is, but it sure smells great down here. Hang on. So what's going on? It's now, good grief, almost 11 o'clock. It's ridiculous. Anyway, the point is, I'm limited on time at this point, but from here on, the priority is going to be getting up on that foredeck and trying to get the areas right on the inside, just behind the tow rail, get those all sanded out. And so I got to get out of here, get the whole foredeck uncovered, and just get to work. Because probably 3:30, 4 o'clock, we got to be able to head out of here and head back up to Vermont. All right, well, look, it's been an awesome trip so far, and we'll wrap all this up later. But boy, this cabin is looking sweet. This is exactly how I want it. And we'll little by little you get this whipped into shape, and I'm looking forward to getting out on the water. Well, we're all uncovered, and at this point, a lot of sanding to do. This is everything's down really well. I don't see any light spots, any places where the there's bubbles, gaps underneath it all. I mean, everything was thoroughly saturated, because this is a chop strand mat, and it absorbs very nicely. But especially around the edges here, this is a very slick, and all this has got to be sanded out. And matter of fact, this has got to be sanded too. And I got to start checking for contour, because this needs to be a little higher in the middle than it is on the outside, and got some work to do here. I'm looking right there, and that looks like kind of a little hollow, and I'm not liking that at all. But see, again, this is where your fairing compound comes in. You just fair some of this in, you check for level all the way across, and make the adjustments as you go. But that's for another day. Right now, we got to get this sanded. Okay, I figured I better check this before we do anything else. But you look right there. I don't know if you can see that. This is port to starboard with a good level piece of wood, and we are just about dead level port to starboard. I'm going to keep moving it back and just see if, but I think with that being the case, I think we can go ahead and make some judgments. And the more we do this, the more of the fairing compound that goes on, the more we're going to have to be careful of it. But right now, let's just go ahead and get things sanded out, and we'll deal all with this pitch stuff later. My mask on here, and I'm getting ready to start. But you can see how slick this is. I mean, that is shiny with resin that's just been the overflow going on to the chop strand mat. And so this all needs to be sanded. It has to have some tooth to it to be able to hold on to the fairing compound. So let's get started. That's probably about all I'm going to record of that. You get the point. And I'm going to be doing this for about the next, half, 3/4 of an hour. Every single bit of this deck is going to get sanded out that way, and I'm going to start brushing down in between sanding coats, making sure where we're at, to see that it has been sanded and it's not just fiberglass dust kicking up all over. I don't know if you can see this, but I mean, the whole deck is just white with fiberglass dust from doing what we just did there. So anyway, suffice it to say, I'm going to stay on this. I'm going to skip lunch. We're going to leave here about 3:30, which means the whole boat is going to be completely finished up, covered up, and ready to roll and out of the yard by 3:30. So right now it's maybe noonish. I'm just going to keep working until we're done, and then got to get things out of here. Talking about you can tell the difference between what's been sanded. Hang on, I still got my mask on. Pulled it down a little bit, but you can tell the difference between that nice glassy look on top of the top strand and this look back here. And I don't know if you can see it. It's hard for me to tell in the sunshine, but anyway, you can really tell this has been sanded, very well sanded. So I'm just going to keep going, making good progress here. But port basically has not been done. I've got pretty much up into the forepeak here, but all right, going to keep on it. Okay, time to shift over to port. Got everything done up almost up into the breast hook here, and I want to hand sand that. I don't want to be gouging out the breast hook. This is kind of an important piece. You got both your port and starboard cleats right up here where your anchor line comes in. I want to keep those nice and intact and not scuffing all this crap up, all the woodwork. So. All right, I'm going to shift over and we'll maybe do some more recording on the other side. One or two more places, I think I'm going to hit that again right there. But other than that, I think we're done. I'm going to get some acetone and get this all done down. Then I'm going to cover it up, and we're going to be good till next time. And hopefully, if we get some decent time next time, we're going to start putting down fairing compound. So, exciting. I'm glad to get this much done. This has been a good trip, and especially with the cabin looking like it is, I think we're going to be in good shape. I learned one thing about using acetone. Use it generously. So what I usually do, I just, on a deck, I've done this again and again with all the work I've done on this. I just slop a bunch on, and then use a piece of paper towel and spread it thoroughly. it does the job. Instead of wetting a rag over and over again, just completely saturate the deck and get to work with the acetone. Anyway, that's my idea. Anyway, okay. Now I gotta go to port. I think I'm gonna do a little bit more over here. There's some areas that could use a little more wiping down. And then this will be it for this trip. So, okay, I gotta go to port and then we're gonna be done. And guys, that's it. Until next trip, we are done. Everything's sanded, acetoned. Until we start spreading some fairing compound, that's all I'm going to do. Just before we do fairing compound, we'll go over this one more time. But I think we're in good shape, and should work. Just for fun, guys, this is the first time I've walked on this deck. It's solid. Believe me, if you could have stood on this deck back before I ripped it up, it was mushy. I mean, you could stand on it. It was like a trampoline. It was so bad. But this is amazing. I don't like being this high in the air. I'm like doing this better when I'm down on the water, but this is amazing. It's solid. Awesome. All right. That's all I want to say. Great. Well, guys, all the heavy equipment is shut down, so I decided to reshoot that last segment. Been a good trip, and cabin is all in really great shape now, the way I want it. Finally have everything just kind of finalized in here. And then the last thing I did is, as you already saw with the different segments that I did, was get up on that foredeck and sand everything out, get it ready, acetone everything. So basically, between those two things that got done here, boy, that was a lot. And also making sure that my halyards are the right length. I'm still not confident of that. I think I'm going to do a little testing on that, but as of what they say in the book, as in online, they say it's 2.5 the length of your mast. Well, the mast is 26. Anyway, whatever. Suffice it to say, the halyards are pretty close to where they ought to be in terms of their length, and that's a good step. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by Restoring Little Girl. All of you guys that are out there already on the water, God bless you. Have a great summer. I hope you get a lot of good sailing in. If you're not in that predicament, if you're still working on your boat, I wish you well. Hope you get some really great work done, and you can be satisfied with it, and get it productive and ready to go out there on the water when the time comes. God bless. Have a good one, and glad you stopped by Restoring Little Girl.